Hello, welcome to Skull RPG Podcast. My name's Dwight Skull.
My name's Jacob Skull.
And today we're going to teach you how to tell your story.
So, Dwight, the next thing that we need to work on, since we have our plot, we have our subplots, we have where we need to go, you're going to have a handful of names and a handful of NPCs that you kind of need to have fleshed out a little bit.
Right, for every single time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in something this large, you're going to need the name of each faction.
Yes.
You're going to need to kind of know maybe if there's a specific, like a specific race for each faction, what those are.
Yep.
You're going to need to know the name of the king or queen or both, or what are the leading, at least the leader is.
Yep, and the advisors that are manipulating.
Correct. You'll need the extraplanar being's name. You may not even figure out exactly what extraplanar thing they are yet, so you can just pick something that could be almost anything. And then you'll also need kind of their primary contact. And what I mean by that is, since our players are kind of going and kind of assumed to be enlisted in the war, that's how they, it's not really enlisted in the war. There's no war yet, but they're enlisted in the faction's political and military power because they're going to start doing espionage, spy-like work. They got to have a boss. So I would create a boss for them to report to so that we can have all of that. Now, to be fair, let's just be fully honest. You and I created this list of names in
2-3 minutes.
And how were we able to do that?
That was our NPC name generator and our fantasy location generator.
Right. So we've created this cool little thing that you can pick up for $3. If you go to skullrpg.com and you go to courses, at the very bottom you'll see something called like legendary places. If you click on that, you can pick this whole thing up for $3. It's got 200. It's got over 50 names for humans, 50 names for elves, 50 names for dwarves, and by 50 names I mean 50 male humans, 50 female humans, 50 male elves, 50 females, dwarves, orcs, monsters. We have a tavern name generator,
a place name generator,
which is very cool.
Legendary names for your sword, your name,
and that's where we pulled the name of the extraplanar being.
Yep.
So all we did is literally we went to the the location generator, and plugged in what we wanted, and it's done in English. And then we just pull out the names from it and then just put it together. So I'm just going to run through our names.
Yep.
So faction 1 is going to be a mostly elven kingdom called Fen Lindy. Which just means something like beautiful forest or something like that.
Yeah.
Laciel, daughter of Calanon, is the queen. All I did is I grabbed a female name and a male name from the elves and put them together. That was it. Their primary contact is Spellmaster Thorandur. Again, just grabbed a name and threw a title in front. Faction 2 is from a place called Largu Caso. That is
Dark Caves.
No, Bountiful Caves.
Bountiful Caves.
Yep.
Okay.
Mostly dwarves. Gilgor, son of Dilgan, is the king. Again, just grab 2 male dwarf names. Primary contact is going to be Rock Sergeant Toriel. Just grabbed a name, created a title. Humans in this world are going to be mostly barbarian tribes. They can be interacted with, but they mostly would act as a mercenary for both factions. They get hired out, but they're not going to be leading anything because they're kind of technologically they're behind. You could play with the concept of magic in here, where you could limit certain schools to elves and other schools to dwarves only. You could limit gods and certain powers that way to kind of, if you wanted to create a different type of feel where maybe only elves can use transmutation, but dwarves are able to use, necromancy. And so you can do something like that if you wanted. You could also give humans the ability to only do maybe 1 or 2 types of spells as well that no one else gets access to. Or you can just leave it wide open and not care. So what you do is your players would pick a side, and then you would introduce them to their primary contact. You would introduce them to the kingdom that they belong to, and then you would let them know who the king or the queen was. In addition to that, as time went on, they would probably start, because of their primary contact and their role, they might meet one of these chief advisors. And the chief advisors, again, we came up with was an elf named Marilla. And then I just came up with a reason why she would do this. She was promised immortality on the other plane. She doesn't know that that's not possible, but that doesn't matter, right? I'll give you a hint. If something comes from another world, could be lying to you. Uh,
Probably is.
might be, yeah. And then the dwarf's name is Rathley, and he was promised the dwarven mines of Atramon. And again, just created, went to the name generator.
Mm-hmm.
Atramon is something like
I thought that one was Dark Minds.
that one might be Dark Minds, yeah. And so there you go. That's all I did. And then the last thing is the extraplanar being, which they may not get introduced to in like 6 or 7 months of your game time, is called. You can pronounce it several different ways, but it's I'm just going to pronounce it Ka'ahu. Ka'ahu.
Mm-hmm.
And so there you go. We've come up with 3 place names, a king and a queen, 2 primary contacts, 2 chief advisors, and the name of your big bad in less than 5 minutes on our end, and explained it to you in almost the exact same time on your end. Again, Skull RPG, check out our courses. There's some really cool stuff there for cheap. And this little thing here could save you tons of time trying to go online and figure it all out. And I'll be honest with you, the place names alone is worth more than $10. So check it out. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for listening.
And for more resources, please go to skullrpg.com.